here is the review to the answers for the Unité 5 written test. Section number 1, Les écritures. Translate the following verses and addresses. Numbers can remain as digits into French. This was a typo on the test. It said English. Hopefully you figured it out. I did email you about it. Alright, so first we have Matthew 5:13. Becomes Vous êtes le sel de la terre. Matthieu 5:13. Exodus 23. Tu n'auras pas d'autre Dieu devant ma face. Exode 23. John 14:1. Que votre cœur ne se trouble point. Croyez en Dieu et croyez en moi. Jean 14:1. John 14:14. Si vous demandez quelque chose en mon nom, je le ferai. Jean 14:14. So normally with this, the spelling does count because spelling can be the difference between one word and a completely different word. So how I normally grade this is if you get 100, you get the full point, 1 out of 1 point for each of these. If you have less than 3 errors, spelling or missing words, I let there be just a little wiggle room there because they're kind of long and more complicated. And then you can give half, and then I would give half credit if there's like obvious parts, kind of bigger chunks missing, more than three or 4 errors, and 0 if there's nothing there or just like lots of the verse missing. Next, vocabulaire. This is just a simple matching. La ville, town. Une grande ville, city. Un petit village, village. Un quartier, neighborhood. Une rue, street. Un hôtel, hotel. Un café, café. Un restaurant, restaurant. Un supermarché, grocery store. Un magasin, store. Un cinéma. There should be an accent on that E. Sometimes my computer autocorrects. Movie theater. Une école, school. Une église, a Catholic church. Un temple, a Protestant church. Une plage, beach. Un centre commercial, mall. Une bibliothèque, library. Un musée, museum. Un hôpital, hospital. Une piscine, pool. Un parc, park. Un stade, a stadium or a track. Un endroit, place. Un événement, event. Un concert, concert. Un film, film, movie, easy. Un match, sports game. Un pique-nique, picnic. A rendezvous, a meeting or date. Un boom is a teen party. Une fête is a general word for party or a kid party. And by the way, this should be une boom. Typos happen. Le football, soccer. Le basketball, basketball. Le ping-pong, ping-pong. Le volleyball, a volleyball. Le tennis, tennis. Les échecs, chess. Les dames, checkers. Les cartes, cards. Les jeux vidéo, video games. Les jeux d'ordinateur, computer games. Le piano, piano. Le violon, violin. Le saxophone. Le clavier, keyboard. La flûte, flute. La guitare, guitar. La clarinette, clarinet. La batterie, drums. And then you had to translate the following sentences. I live in Paris. J'habite en Paris. Make sure you did the apostrophe H a J apostrophe here because a beat functions like a vowel in French because it's invisible, really. We don't pronounce it, so it sounds as if the word begins with a vowel. Anyways, and then en Paris. If you did à Paris, I'll let it slide. That's kind of one of those things you just kind of get used to when it's à and when it's en. Number 55. There is a cafe and a park in my neighborhood. Il y a un café et un parc dans mon quartier. There is, and then un café, a park, in, and then my neighborhood. So you have to use the correct form, possessive adjective here. Mon quartier. Quartier is masculine, so it has to be mon, not ma. Number 56. The museum is next to the movie theater on Victor Hugo Boulevard. Le musée est à côté du cinéma dans Boulevard Victor Hugo. This one was kind of complicated, so I'll let there be a few errors. If there's more than like one or two, then half off or 0. By the way, I didn't give you the pointage, but all of these are worth 1 point each, and so are the sentences. Where am I? Oops, I skipped ahead. Okay. So, this sentence here. The museum is next to le musée, and then is, and then this is kind of a recall to Unit 4, I believe. À côté de means next to. And then it would be the movie theater, which would be le cinéma. But we can't have de and le next to each other. So we say à côté du cinéma. The de at the end of the expression à côté de, and then le cinéma, they mesh together and become a du. Dans, and then this was something we went over very briefly, so if you didn't get this quite right, you don't have to be too hard on yourself in the grading process. Essentially, in French we say boulevard and then the name of it. And we don't really need le boulevard or un boulevard. So it's just kind of the way we do the names of streets. So if you have an un there, or le boulevard, or Victor Hugo Boulevard, I'd grade a little easy on that because that's a little complicated. Next, you had to look at this map from our textbook. Vous êtes ici, we are here, so this is our reference point. You could have answered these directions 2 different ways. One was telling us which street the following places were on, and second, where, how to get there from your starting point. So, for the first question, où est le Ciné-Rex? Le Ciné-Rex is right here. It's a movie theater, cinéma. So I could either answer le Ciné-Rex est dans rue Danton, or il est dans rue Danton. It is on the Danton Street. I could have also said, given directions and said le Ciné-Rex, or il est tout droit et à gauche. Tout droit et à gauche. I can't think of any kind of way you could have given directions here that with any of these parts missing or anything added, and it would still be correct. So these are kind of your options. Email me if you feel like you wrote something perfectly legit and it's not here. Number 58. Où est-ce qu'il y a un supermarché? Where is there a supermarket? And the answer is over here, Supermarché Casino. So I could say either un supermarché est dans rue Pascal. A supermarket is on rue Pascal, or I could just say Casino, just call it by its name, est dans rue Pascal. Or I could say Casino. I could have even said il. So I could say un supermarché est dans rue Pascal. Casino est dans rue Pascal. Or il est. Okay. Or I could have also given directions and said du droite et à droite. I suppose you could have said, like if you're walking this way, facing this way, you could have said c'est à gauche, like it's on your left. That would have been fine. If you just said straight and turn right, you think you'd see it maybe from here, whatever. That's fine as well. Right, so that's directions. More matching. La maison, house. Un appartement, apartment. Un immeuble is a building or an apartment building. Le garage, garage. Une pièce, room. Une chambre, bedroom. Un salle de bain, bathroom. Les toilettes, toilet room. La cuisine, kitchen. Wherever you are, kitchen. There you are, J. La salle à manger, dining room. Le salon, or la salle de séjour is living room. And then finally, le jardin, the garden. Then we had to match up the conjugation. So it's je vais, tu vas with an S, il, elle va, no S. Nous allons, vous allez, ils, elles vont. For venir, je viens, I have a little I, because these two are spelled the exact same. I didn't want you to have to like give two options. So this one is referring to I, which is je, and this one is referring to you, which is tu. So, je viens, dis, je viens, I, or tu viens. Il, elle vient with a T. Nous venons, vous venez, ils, elles viennent. Alright, and then finally some sentences to translate. Go away, dog, this was using the expressions with aller, vient, va-t'ien, and then dog is just chien. I know some of you will have written chien, and I don't know how many times I have to remind you that we do not want to use the feminine form of dog ever, even if your dog is a girl. Doesn't matter, just use chien. Just pretend that there's only one way of saying it. Va-t'ien, chien. Next, let's go to the kitchen. Let's go is allons-y, and then to the kitchen, à la cuisine. Cuisine is féminin. If you wrote vas-y, that's not quite the same thing. Let's go in English is short for let us go. So we have the us, the kind of I'm included in this. Allons-y is let us go. You know, we have the allons conjugated for nous for us. If you wrote vas-y, that means like you go to the kitchen. So the correct answer is allons-y. Vas-y would not work. Number 85. We are going to swim today. We, nous, and then here we have are going to swim. This is something that has not happened yet. This is a verb in the near future. So our two parts to the near future is aller, conjugated in the present tense to match the subject, nous allons. And then the second verb, the main kind of action verb, is left not conjugated or in the infinitive. So I would say nous allons nager, and then you have to recall the word for today, which is aujourd'hui. I always get the most creative spellings with this word. Number 86. Marie is not going to play tennis. Marie, and then the verb going, whatever, is va, to match Marie with no S on the end. And then our negative sandwich goes around that verb, just the first verb. I should have said, this sentence also has the near future. If there's no negative here, it'd be Mary is going to play tennis. We're talking about the near future. Now when we put the near future in the negative, the ne and the pas, as you recall, go around the first verb. The second verb just gets to hang out on the other side, the negative sandwich. This is almost always true in French when we do the negative sandwich, that the ne and the pas go around the first verb or the first part of the verb. You can pretty much count on that for most of the time. So va is the form of aller, conjugated in the present tense, matches Marie. And then jouer is in the infinitive, not conjugated. And then au, we say jouer au tennis. Thank you. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, Marine jouer au tennis for sports. In for number 87, we say joue de flûte because it's an instrument. So over this, you have to be kind of remember that we say jouer à le tennis, which would be jouer au, and then jouer de for instruments. All right, getting ahead of myself. Page number 87. Jean-François does not play the flute. Jean-François ne joue pas de flûte. So here we're back to just regular present tense. And I would say if he's not playing, it'd be the verb jouer. But I have to conjugate it because we're in the present tense to match Jean-François. So it'd be just joue. I remove the ER and add the E ending. Because the endings are, remember, S, and that's the one I use. ONS is Z, E, and T. Okay, my negative sandwich goes around my verb, ne joue pas. And then because I'm talking about instruments, not sports, not gaming, I say jouer de flûte. I'm so sorry, this should say de la flûte. Flûte is féminin, and there should be the de la flûte here. Number 88. Number 88. We arrive at the party at Beatrice's house. Nous arrivons, we arrive, so this is present tense. This is my verb arriver that you had to memorize and remember, which is an ER verb. Remove the ER and add the ONS ending to match the subject nous arrivons, at the party. You could have said either à la boum, which is one kind of party, or à la fête, another kind of party. I did not specify in the sentence, so either one would have been just fine. And then in French, the way we say if we're at someone's house, we say chez Béatrice. So actually, because that's something that we learned in this unit and what I'm testing you on, this expression chez, I will actually take off points or like make the sentence half credit if you say à la maison de Béatrice. It's not wrong, grammatically speaking, but I'm testing you on the expression chez. I want you to say chez Béatrice, not à la maison de Béatrice or à la maison of whatever. Like something more direct. Number 89. You, an informal you, return from the library at noon. This was another one of those kind of complicated ones that I would grade on the looser side for. So you, tu, that's the informal you. Return, the verb return that I taught you was revient, which gets, when it's conjugated, looks like this. And then from the library, de la bibliothèque, at noon, à midi. Now, the textbook, was being confusing. And at one point, we had an exercise that I think we did a couple times that where we said someone was coming back from somewhere. They return and we used vient. So it was like both of these make sense. So we could say tu reviens de, like I return from, or I viens de, I come from. Either one would have been fine because return, revient is the more literal meaning for return, but the exercise was confusing. And if you remember that, both of these are just fine. Right, number 90. The sports car is large and red. La voiture, feminine. And then here is that where you had to remember how to say sports car. A noun describing another noun, and it's voiture de sport. Because in English, the describing adjective goes first, and then the main one goes second, but in French, it's flipped. The describing one comes second, and the main one comes first. Voiture, and then we have a de in between. So, la voiture de sport est grande et rouge. Don't forget that your adjective here needs Both of these adjectives need to match the gender of our noun that it's describing. It's describing voiture. The grandes rouges are describing voiture, which is feminine. So I add an E to grande. Rouge already has an E, so I don't need to add an extra one. Same thing here with here's your tennis racket. I have a noun describing another noun, and in English the main noun comes second, and in French the main noun comes first. Okay. Raquette de tennis. Okay. So here's your tennis racket. Voici ta raquette de tennis. Here is, if you wrote voila, which means there is, I would overlook that because they're somewhat interchangeable. They don't mean the same thing, but they're interchangeable enough, and you are French 1 enough that I would grade it easy on that. Your, here you're putting into practice, is ta. Doesn't matter if you're a girl, doesn't matter if you're a boy, what matters is that raquette is féminin. So you would say ta raquette de tennis. Number 92. Will you play soccer with me? This one was a little hard. I should have worded it slightly differently, I think, because we have the near future kind of hiding at the front here. So technically, this is a near future sentence. I'm saying, will you do something? Like, can the soccer be played in the near future is what you're asking. Est-ce que sorry. Will you play soccer? Will you play soccer with me? In French, there's two ways you could have said this, and this is one of the ones that I would grade on the looser side, meaning if more than 3 or 4 parts are wrong or missing, then I'd give half credit or no credit, depending on how much is missing or incorrect. Est-ce que tu vas jouer? Will you... This is like, that doesn't... I don't know why I'm doing my mouse over it because it doesn't directly translate. So est-ce que means that the question is happening, and then tu vas jouer, you going to play. Remember we say jouer à, and then le football, which changes to O. So you have to remember that bit. You could have said football, you could have said foot, and then with me, avec moi. You could have also said, it would have been fine if you even said tu vas jouer au football avec moi. If you left out the est-ce que, that would have been fine as well. You could have said jouer football avec moi, to play soccer with me, which isn't quite a good translation, but I feel like we didn't really practice this enough that I didn't expect you to get it perfectly right, so that was kind of weird. Number 94 was really weird too. I'm not sure what I was thinking when I wrote it. Anyways, 93. I dine with him at the restaurant 3 étoiles. Je dîne, I dine avec lui. This was the, what are they called in English? The objective, direct object, the objective case. Anyways, it's the stress pronouns that we learned about. So with him, we wouldn't say with he, right? So if you said avec il, that's absolutely wrong. You'd have to say je dîne avec lui. And then at the restaurant, au restaurant, le restaurant, 3 étoiles. Number 94, in the children's bedroom is his book. Very awkwardly worded. This one should have been edited, I think. So, sorry about that. But if you want to translate it, kind of word for word or somewhere along those lines, you could say dans la chambre des enfants. This is, you're putting into practice how, in the fact that in French, there's no apostrophe S to communicate possession. There's nothing like that, apostrophe S in French. We say in French, like, the bedroom of the children. That's how we would say it. La chambre des enfants, of the children, which of de les enfants becomes des enfants. So you're putting in a bunch of things into practice right now. The translation of de, and then possession is the children's bedroom, so it'd be la chambre de les enfants, but then it becomes des enfants, is his book, et son livre. So here we have another possessive adjective that describes, saying his book. Book is masculin, so it becomes son livre. All right, number 95. Their grandparents are kind. Possessive adjective again is ses grands-parents, because they're plural, we use ses. Actually, you know what? It's fine if you did say, because that's kind of how we say it in English. We say their to refer to, this is one of those weird things where grammatically incorrect things start to become correct simply because they're used a lot. This is a weird thing about language. Okay, but anyways, if you said ses grands-parents, that's fine. Referring to his or hers combined, one or the other, not super clear. They're kind of, it's synonymous with his and hers nowadays. If you said leur, L-E-U-R-E-S, that is also grammatically correct, probably even more. Leurs grands-parents, their grandparents, are kind. Sont, don't forget to use the correct conjugation of être. And then there are several words we have for kind. Sympathique, gentil, I think there are a few other ones. Make sure that your adjectives, sympathique and gentil, are describing grandparents, which are plural. So we need to make sure to make them plural as well to match. Oh, sorry, just the S there. And that's it for the test. Email me if you have any questions. I will give detailed instructions on grading them. But basically every question is worth 1 point is kind of the baseline. The ones where you have to write out sentences, generally if you miss more than, for the verses for all of these, if you miss more than, like, depending on how long the sentence is, 2 to 4 things are spelled wrong, or if it just looks quite drastically different, then give yourself either a half point or no points at all. You know, if there's just so many errors. I give you lots of wiggle room because you're a French 1 and you're writing out sentences, so which is not easy. So I give lots of wiggle room. I would not give you zeros for one, like a 0 for one of these for one word being misspelled. Definitely not. I'd probably look over one misspelling, and then after 2 to 4, depending on how long or complicated the sentence is, I would give half credit, and then depending on how bad it is, and then if a lot is missing, or the important parts that I pointed out to you, like the things that I'm actually testing you on, like ta and chez and stuff, then it might be cost you the full point. Email me if you have any questions. That's that.